My name is Tereza Zoumpalova. I work for the Future Society. We are an independent nonprofit organization with a mission to align AI through better governance. I will be presenting the final outcomes of the consultation that we co-organized. It was an official consultation for the AI Action Summit, and we co-organized it with Sciences Po, the AI and Society Institute, Senium, and Make.org. So this is also to say thank you to our partners who worked with us on this. So, given the very brief amount of time, firstly, I will introduce the main numbers and the scope of this conversation. As was mentioned, this was the first time that one of the AI summits actually included a consultation of this scale. There were two parts to it. One was a citizen consultation, which took place online. It engaged over 11,000 participants who were able to submit their own proposals, a few brief sentences on how they think AI should be governed, and then voting on each other's proposals, which is how it got 420,000 votes. Separately from that, there was a separate website, which was an expert consultation targeted mainly at actors from civil society organizations and from academia, which engaged over 200 organizations across 5 continents and helped define the deliverables for 15 ideas of priorities on what should be discussed. I will briefly talk about the citizen outcomes as well, but given that the Future Society was in charge of the expert consultation part, I will now introduce you a bit more to that. So, to give you a bit more detail on the types of organizations we engaged, we wanted this to be a really broad effort, including scientific institutions, academic centers, labor unions, artists associations, to get as many views as possible given the broad range of topics covered by the summit. In terms of our methodology, as I said, this was an online survey. It was structured around some questions with the possibility to also upload some research. We did direct outreach to many organizations that we found who were engaging with relevant topics, and we were often requesting for them to share it further or to recommend further organizations, especially in continents that we were feeling like were getting underrepresented or in countries that seemed underrepresented so that this could be spread as widely as possible. We then analyzed it in 2 sessions. One of them was the interim analysis, where we already gathered some feedback and tried to engage with the participants. And then the final one, where we were looking mainly at recurring ideas and trying to order them based on frequency and synthesizing all of them into the deliverables that we ended up having. What we can also see here is that for the expert consultation, we separated it into 2 parts. One was key priorities that the experts believe in, regardless of whether that's something that the organizers asked for or not. But then there was an insight section, which was answers to questions that were specifically posed by the organizers of the summit. And with participation, often the struggle can be actually turning the participatory efforts into reality. And this was really making sure that it's things that are interesting and relevant to the summit organizers so that it's things that then they can apply while planning the summit. So bringing the findings of the 2 consultations together, this is synthesizing the citizen and the expert consultation. There were findings for each of the main topics. So as I showed in the previous slide, there are 5 main themes of the summit. So for the first theme, global AI governance, the main conclusion was that we need to lay the foundations of a stronger global and multi-stakeholder AI governance, which can be having a panel on an international scientific panel on AI risk, as well as establishing clear mechanisms for including civil society and global south in these conversations, which are often not happening with such stakeholders as we would like to. Then ensuring access to qualitative AI education and training. Establishing shared standards for safe and responsible AI, including publishing thresholds for AI oversight, as well as potentially red lines for development that should not cross those red lines of what we believe should ethically be developed, and launching an AI corporation commitment report card, which would basically be looking at whether AI developers are sticking with commitments that they have made at past summits and other international fora. Then another common topic was environmental benefits and risks of AI and the fact that the benefits should be outweighing the risks. So we also need to be tracking the environmental use of AI, of data centers, of all of these uses. And there were some proposals of a green AI leaderboard, which would essentially focus on making that information public and showing how the different developers or models are doing on that front. And finally, what the citizens were largely also focusing on was addressing existing issues and protecting fundamental rights, especially. Um, in the expert consultation, there was a slight divergence where there was also more focus on potential more serious harms, including potential catastrophic threats from AI or more large-scale issues, which was a bit less visible in the citizen consultation, although supported in that one as well. And one thing that was very much the focus of public interest AI for the experts was the need for auditing. And that's something that would help with all of the other aims that we've been talking about, because then we can be verifying how the systems are actually doing on that front. So this is all of the things that I mentioned combined. The report had over 100 pages and this engaged over 10,000 participants from citizens' part and over 200 organizations. So of course, this was a very brief summary and it missed a lot of the detail. I would really encourage you to look at the consultation. I will be sharing the links, either the full one or we have a 4-page summary, which can already help you look for that and see what you find interesting. And yeah, excited to discuss this further in the Q&A. Thanks for having me.